Hey guys, welcome to the 17th episode of Secret Dreams. I'm here with Emma. Welcome, Emma.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Uh, s we are gonna come back to you with a lot of questions for your life, for your magic. Just before we go there, I just wanted to share, guys, that some of you know that I'm Dimitri Wakuf, and what I do is I'm leadership coach, a self-leadership coach who helps people to really connect with and follow their dreams unapologetically, so that they can live the life of their dreams, fulfilled, successful, and happy. So that's why I created Secret Dreams, because I see so many people who are either not aware, or at the same time they are not, they're afraid to follow what they want because of societal expectations, because of fears, and so on and so on. And I wanted these conversations here to awaken a part of you guys, so that you can really start doing that, because I definitely believe that the most important thing for us is to do that in order, if you want to have really happy life and you really feel in alignment with ourselves and with life. So today I'm gonna have Emma here. So we know each other for almost 2 years, something like that, 1.5, 2 years, and actually, I always introduce people the way I see them. I see them in a way that it's not about what they do, but how I feel about them. So for you, the first word which comes to mind when I think about you is love. Is pure love. Like, it's a person with this very deep connection with herself, who really can, just in a conversation, can help someone to really transform themselves by the mere fact that you are part of this conversation, not that you say something or do something, but just be there. And I've been experiencing that for the last 1 year. When we have these conversations, we have a coaching group together with her and one more coach. So we have a lot of great conversations each week, and I'm super happy that we have that. Another thing which comes to mind when I think about you is that you are always coming from a place of service and really want to help people. And also you have a very deep awareness of who you are and where you want to go. And there are not many people. There are a lot of people who speak about, I want to, the things to be in alignment with me, but not many people are actually in alignment with that, Emma. And I see that you are. You always try to be in integrity with yourself, and no matter with who you are, and it doesn't matter if it's your children, with your boyfriend, with your colleagues, with your clients. I know that you are there and you want to really fully be yourself. And all of this and many more are the reasons why I want to be here in this conversation, because I definitely believe, deeply believe, that you can help people to awaken this part of themselves, so that they can stop feeding their suffering, but start feeding their love, their compassion, their gratitude, and their fulfillment. So, welcome again here. And now the floor is yours to talk about yourself a little bit, your story, who you are, and how you came here.
Mm, I'm just going to take a little minute to fully receive that incredible acknowledgement, Demi, and thank you for seeing me and for that beautiful acknowledgement. And I love that reflection, because that's me. That is me. I am love. And that's who I have created and allowed myself to be. Now, I've been reflecting on sharing my story, because it's so multi-layered. And I feel like the most beneficial thing that wants to come forward in this conversation is, not even 5 years ago, a few years ago, I was a person who constantly sought validation outside of myself. I was constantly adjusting myself to my environment, looking to other people. What do you need? Now, I've always been a person of service. I've been very committed to service. I was a nurse in a previous career, and then a full-time stay-at-home mum for a while. And although I was giving from a place of needing. I gave to you because I needed you to see me and I needed you to validate me. And I was incredibly lonely and I was incredibly disconnected from who I was. I didn't even realize that I had a dream and a passion and a desire to express creativity within me, because ever since I was small, for as long as I could remember, I was just constantly looking for how to be good. What did it mean to be good? What did you think was going to be good? And I remember being in crowds of people. I hated groups. I hated groups so much, because in a group, who do you adjust to? There's too many people in the room. I found it so overwhelming. I would zone in on one person and then go and be with them. I had no confidence, no attachment to who I was. And I was constantly at the mercy of other people's opinions, of other people's behaviors. And then something happened, and life gave me an opportunity to learn, to start to turn in. So I had this life where all of the things that I'd said that I wanted to, my big dream that I focused on was to be essentially a housewife. That was my really big desire. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, have a husband, have a house. And I was living that. And it wasn't quite the picture perfect, and it wasn't terrible. And it was the thing that I thought that I wanted. And there was this element of disconnection and dissatisfaction. And then my marriage broke down. And it was incredibly traumatic. And out of the blue, I didn't see it coming. My husband wanted to leave me. It was just like out of nowhere. And I Googled how to fix a broken marriage and found this coaching course. And that was my introduction to coaching. And in that introduction to coaching, I learned that other people's behaviors have nothing to do with me. So him wanting to leave didn't have any effect or impact on my worthiness or my lovability. And that was the start of the journey for me to step into love, without need to be love, not to get love. And so that was about 4 years ago. And from that point, I've just been deepening and deepening that experience ever since. And that led me into a career as a yoga teacher, which then transitioned into a career as a coach and building a coaching practice. So yeah, that's what wants to come forward in this time. And if you have any more questions or anything else to explore within that, then we can go there.
Thank you for sharing. I am some of the things I didn't know actually. When you just the things you shared here, and that's the beauty of these conversations, where you can really understand more about people you know. And I would say that in every story, hero's journey, you could say, because everyone is hero's journey, you have turning points. Can you share with me maybe your main 2-3 turning points in your life that actually shifted the direction, or maybe created more clarity for you to continue? Because I just before you answer, because you said you had actually dream to be a housewife. It's not like you did it because you had to. So it seems to me that there was some points when you started actually changing even your dreams. Because so that's why I'm asking the question, because it's very interesting for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So part of my makeup, my desire, I love being in a loving relationship. I have a beautiful partnership with my divinely led relationship now. And that's always been a very big, strong desire of mine. And I wanted to have a family and to be at home with the kids. And that's not exactly changed. It's just shifted. So that dream came from within, and also I think from the perceived expectations as well. So it's not that that's not still present for me. My children are young, and I love being with them and I love playing with them. And I love being in the world, and I love serving, and I love having my own experiences of life and identity. So that's one of the huge turning points for me, was that the dream was to become a mum. And when I became a mum, that encompassed my entire identity. I was a mum. I'd got there, that was the dream, and I was absolutely blinded to any other possibility of life. And in doing that, actually what I did was I parked myself almost and didn't even listen to anything else that might be going on inside me, because I had this responsibility to be a mum and to provide safety for my children, to provide a loving environment for my children. I would get all of these, but anytime there was anything going on with the kids, I would read these books and get this very holistic and psychological, and just wanted to provide them this really safe, nurturing environment. And that was coming from a place of love. And it was also coming from a place of me fulfilling a need for me, almost. You know, you give the medicine you need the most. So the huge turning points were my marriage blowing up. That was a huge turning point for me, because that was my journey in. And then the realization within that actually I was pouring all of my it's almost like expectation, my life, into my children. They were my reason for being. So that was outside of myself. And what a lot of responsibility that is for kids. For them being my reason for being. So that was a really huge realization for me, where it was, I get to still be the mum that I want to be and love them completely. And I do that by looking in at me, looking at what my passions are, and looking at what wants to be expressed through me into the world, and leading myself as a demonstration of, this is what love looks like. Love is not sacrifice. Love is not putting yourself last so that other people can thrive. Actually, it's putting me first. So this was a huge turning point for me. Me first, self, and self with a capital S, not small self, but big self, self-centered. And in being self-centered and coming from that place of fullness and love, making choices that a few years ago I wouldn't have dreamed of ever making. My partner lives in America. I went to see him for 10 days last year. As you know, I left my kids for 10 days, and I did that for me. And they were saying, Mom, I don't really want you to go. And I was saying, and I hear that, and we'll be in touch, and I'm coming back, and I'm doing this for me. And for me now, that was a really, as a person, as an individual, that was a huge, huge thing, a huge turning point. And I love that I get to be that for them now, and give them permission to put themselves first by me being that first. Another key turning point for me was finding a book called The Ultimate Coach. I don't actually have it to hand, but I found that towards the end of last year. Now, I've been studying spiritual texts, and I've done a lot of yoga philosophy, and the journey in and listening in, and the way that this book presents possibility and creation through being that was me stepping into the coaching kind of career path, if you like, calling. So always the turning points have always come when I've been willing to look at where I am now and sit with where am I coming from? Where am I really coming from with that? Is that coming from a place of protection and contraction? Or is it coming from a flow of expression and love and giving from a place of fullness?
Love it. Wow. My takeaway so far from your story is that our dreams are incredibly important, but we don't want to attach to them. We don't want to attach to the dreams, or even we don't want to attach to the content of the dream. Like dreams, they are our North Star and they give us direction, but we want to be flexible with that because we change. Or even better said, I think we constantly coming back to ourselves, and we in that way we connect more and more with our dreams and our we clarify even more of what we do. I've heard several years ago something like someone asked, I don't remember even who was the guy, but about it was about purpose, and said, "What's your purpose?" And he said, "My purpose changed many times until I was 20." And he was like, "Okay, but don't you have one purpose, which is the whole life?" He said, "I don't know. I mean, I have purpose, but I'm not sure if it's one all my life. It's changed. I have one in 20, one in 30, one in 40. So why I'm saying that? Because when you say that, at least for me, that freed space in me and made me understand that follow what you have in your heart right now, and your heart will show you later what's the next step for you, right? So that's, I think it's very important. Why I'm saying that was kind of an introduction for the next part of our conversation, which is how do you know that it's coming from your heart, what you're looking for, what you're after, or versus coming from societal expectations, fears, shame, and so on and so on. How do you know that, Emma?
I love that reflection, Demi, and that non-attachment, right? Because we get to just keep taking the steps forward, that one step forward into action and trusting the process. Now, sometimes the process of following our heart leads us into a marriage blowing up out of nowhere, and it can feel like, I mean, my whole world came crashing down at that time. It didn't necessarily feel like I was following a dream in that moment. And it was the perfect path for me. I can see that. I've got so much gratitude for that experience now. I really, really do. And now from that experience and the journey that I'm on, so it's not like we get to do this journey and we just flow through life and it's sunshine and rainbows and butterflies and we're living the dream and it's so, so beautiful. And we can create it like that when we have an element of trust, once we've got that sense of ourselves. So for me, I'm very connected to my body through the yoga experience. And there's a physical knowing of, I'll literally feel myself shrinking. I can feel myself contracting and getting smaller when there's fear and when there's doubt. Now, for me, any doubt, any little niggle, any doubt is an indication that there's some societal external reasoning coming in. Because when your heart speaks, everybody, I believe, everybody has a sense of what it feels like when your heart is speaking to you, when you know something's right for you. There's a feeling attached to that. And then, who am I to do that? oh, somebody else is already doing that. That's not for me to do. You know, then the doubts come in. So the doubts come from the external, the doubts come from society, the doubts come from looking out to see, how am I doing? Maybe you take a step and it doesn't go the way that you thought. You meet something and, oh, well, it's not gone smoothly, therefore it must not be right. And then doubt creeps in. So doubt's a huge indicator that you're looking outside of yourself for some answers or some validation, as opposed to being certain on your own dream.
Wow. So tell me then about the doubt. How do you work with that when the doubt comes? What do you do in order to come back to your heart, I guess?
There's so many processes and steps, and for me, it's trusting the process. It's funny, I was just thinking about this the other day, because, you know, a lot of people will say, you know, follow your excitement, follow your good feeling, and that'll take you to where you want to go. And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about the fact that actually, when we're in that stepping into our dream and stepping into our greatness and stepping into the life that wants to be expressed through us, it's not always comfortable. It doesn't always feel great, but it's that discomfort we get from like a workout, right? There's something to push through, and there's a good feeling within that. So it's not that it's just like, oh, there's flow and it's great and it's amazing. It's like we'll meet these moments of opportunity to grow into and to expand more and to meet these beliefs that we hold about ourselves that we've developed through other people's ideas of us or ideas of ourselves. And that's where the doubt comes from. That's where the fear comes from. And so trusting that initial call and deciding to just keep moving forward and being in action in the smallest of ways. Just those little daily baby steps. What is it? They say 1% a day, and by the end of a year, you've got 365%. 1% a day.
So you're saying that actually you feel when your heart wants something, you feel it initially, and then maybe that can in a way fade away from all the doubts, fears, and all the other things. So what's your suggestion is you just go after this first thing which you felt, and trust the process in a way that if some of these pains and suffering is coming, you don't stay with that, but you believe, you trust your hunch in a way. So when you say feeling the first thing, is it like do you feel it in the body? How do you know that?
For me, it's an energetic knowing. So I don't know if you can share if you've had moments in your life like this. So when I decided to pursue yoga as a career path, as a training, I had a little Facebook ad come up, and then there was a seed planted, and then a different ad came forward, and then all of a sudden I just couldn't get it out of my head. Now, I didn't have the investment to make at the time. There was no logical sense. It was COVID. There was so much going on. And I just somehow knew something was calling me. Something. So when I met my husband, now my husband is now my ex-husband, and we created 2 beautiful children. When we got together, I had a knowing in that moment. So for me, it's trusting the knowing in the moment. And as you so beautifully said, being unattached to the outcome, being in it for the being in it, and understanding that life is going to provide us exactly what we require in order for us to become the greatest and fullest expression of ourselves.
Tell me about the fear. You said about the self-doubt. What? Tell me about the fear. Fears are, you know, very often they stop us from
Mm.
where we want to go, and a lot of things are said there out there. But is there or were there a certain fear you battled the most in your life, and how did you manage to work with it?
My biggest fear is rejection
Hmm.
and being alone. And honestly, for me, there's a fast track way of getting through those fears because I have a spiritual connection now. That's been a huge part of my journey and my transformation is being connected to something greater than me. You can call that source, the universe, God. The word is completely irrelevant. And I have a very strong knowing and connection with that broader perspective, if you like. And
Hmm.
that's where the trust comes from, is that I can want my life to go a certain way. I can want this and that and that, and I can want to control. I used to be such a control freak. If the plates weren't stacked in the right way, I was unsafe and my whole world blew out. It's to feel like that now seems so strange. And I needed that control. I needed things to make sense around me. And I needed to know everything that was coming. And now I understand that actually there's something bigger at play that is orchestrating things in a way that beyond I could create, beyond a possibility that I could even imagine. My dreams, the ideas I have of my dreams are, as you said, they're like a North Star. And when I can be unattached to actually getting there and just enjoy the journey of moving towards, then actually what's for me is going to be even greater than I could possibly imagine. So that fear, it gets, I can hold space for it when it comes up, and it comes up. It comes up. And when it does, a huge part the Ultimate Coach book taught me was this radical self-compassion.
Hmm.
And the people that I've connected to since experiencing that book, the self-compassion and the holding space for what's coming up, not judging it as right or wrong, being with it. When we can be with something and not make it right or wrong, and in fact even welcome it and be love. When fear's coming up, something is just looking for love. There's a piece of me, this is the way I choose to frame it, there's a piece of me coming forward, a belief about myself coming forward that I haven't accepted yet, that I haven't really embodied with love yet. And so when a fear comes up, I get to sit with it, I get to be with it, and I get to love it.
Wow. So I have this question because a lot of people speak about this higher power. I'm with you. I definitely believe in that and I'm connected to that. But how do you connect with it? What's your way?
So many ways. There's so many ways for me. And it's funny because I grew up an atheist. So
Mm.
this is such a turnaround for me. I used to think, well, we're alone and we're just a body, and when we die and there's nothing. And now I believe, my belief is that we're eternal and we're energy, and there's actually physics to back all this up now. It's amazing. It's not just esoteric. It's we're a constant flux of changing energy. And meditation, a practice called Kriya, which is a yoga. So we have karma, which is action out in the world. Most people will have heard about karma, cause and effect. And Kriya is an internal action. So I was doing a regular Kriya practice, sitting and breathing with certain thoughts and sounds. And that was like this, like, okay, now I'm connected. I have a yoga practice as well, physical asana practice, I did chanting for a little while, dancing, reading, singing, anything that just settles the thoughts down. This is the thing for me. When we're not thinking, this is yoga. So there's it's the second Yoga Sutra, where it's yoga is the cessation of the whirling of the mind. So yoga is oneness. Yoga is we are connected only always. And when we're not thinking, when this stops going, we can settle into that. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to change. There's nothing to achieve. It's a non-doing. So anything that inspires that non-doing and gets me centered and attentive into myself, my center.
I love that. And when I speak to some of my clients, when they talk about meditation, it's very hard to understand for some people what is that. And I definitely, this is one of my ways to connect with the divine. It's with a meditation, and when you learn how to disattach from your thoughts, it's not that you lose them. They're still there, but you're just not attached to them, and you're not paying the attention which you paid before that to them, right? So my idea is that this divine thing is this pure consciousness which is behind all of this, and we can connect to it in many ways, like you said. But last week, actually, I did this videos on self-worth, and I'm saying it because it's very connected with what you just shared with me when it comes to the divine, is that self-worth for me is this, when you understand that you are this consciousness behind, there is self-worth even becomes irrelevant as a concept, because this thing is just there. You cannot put word on that or not word on that. It's just there. There is no. That's why I think I think Dalai Lama was the guy, when they said to him something around the idea of self-worth or self-esteem, he was really perplexed when he heard that, because for him that doesn't exist as a concept, right? So I say all of these things because I think they are very connected to the main theme here of the conversation, because when you understand that you are inherently worthy, because you cannot not be worthy because you are everything. This consciousness behind it, just there is this feeling of relax which comes to your body, right? This relax of, wow, if I am inherently worthy, if I'm connected to this divine all the time because I'm part of it, I am it, I have now the freedom to do whatever I want. And the magic of that is that, because some people are afraid, oh, I can do whatever, I can kill people, do this and that. No, when you come to that place, you wouldn't do that. Because you're so much filled with love, that actually the only thing you can do is love people in different ways, right? So it's magical how this changes everything for people. And there is one more thing which I shared last week, and I wanted to ask to hear your opinion on that, because honestly, I think if you really truly see yourself as valuable, you would follow everything you want, because you are valuable, your opinion is valuable, your dreams are valuable, everything is valuable. And one of the things which I shared last week is that actually, and I think it's part of what you just said before, that no matter what is the experience we have in life, it is valuable for this pure consciousness, because it gives information from different angles for our human experience. And it doesn't matter what happens in your life. It doesn't, honestly. All the things which you put as some kind of ideals are part of our human experience. It's like, it's the game we play. It's the game. I have to do this, I have to create this, I have to create that. But for the divine, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because no matter what you do, it's valuable for it, because it takes the info. It's an information for it. It's an experience for it, and actually that's the only thing it wants. So yeah, that's something which I shared, and I wanted to hear. Yeah, how do you see that?
I love that. I love that. And I'll speak to the first thing that you
Yeah.
mentioned first, and that, oh well, if everybody just goes around and does what they want, then we'll have chaos, and we'll have people hurting each other, and that's a place coming from fear, right? There's when we really understand, when I see you as me, now we're all individuals and we're all one. We're individuated experiences of a one. So if I tell you to chop your little finger off, you're not going to do it because you know it's going to hurt you. Now, when I really know that you're an extension of me, then why would I ever have a thought that I'm going to hurt you? Because you're me, and what I do for you, I do for me. What I give to you, I receive for myself. So yeah, remind me the second part of that. I kind of got lost in that train of thought.
The word that doesn't matter what we have during our life, we are
So
worthy.
yeah,
Our
I
experience is
I
worthy.
love
Yeah.
this because certainly part of my journey is that I've been on a high and in the high vibration, and I love being there. Love it. It feels so fun. It feels so free. I'm just flowing with everything. And then I have these dips, and I experience deep grief at times, despair even. And it felt like such a big contrast, like such a big drop. And I would initially, when this started happening, I would make the lower, if you like, feelings wrong and judge them, and I would get stuck there because anything we judge, it makes it like glue and it sticks to us, any judgment at all. And actually, it's all part of the human experience, right? We're here for all of it.
Yeah.
And we get to experience all of it. So without the experience of the pain, we're not going to know the joy. And I speak to my kids about this, actually. As you say, for me, it's like this expansion of experience. So when we're feeling more deeply sad, it's like the opposite end is growing at the same time, right? It's the same stick. If happy and sad are on the same stick, then when we're feeling more sad, then the possibility for more happiness is expanding at the same time. And then we get to move into that when we don't judge the sad. So it's all there with purpose, and none of it is right or wrong. And when we can drop that attachment and drop that judgment, then it all becomes my grief when I'm in these grieving phases. It's beautiful. It's divine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just what wants to be expressed through me in that time. And I get to watch that and witness that and be with that, knowing that the pleasure end is growing the whole time, and it never stops. Never stops.
It's the game. It's part of the game we want to play without attaching to it.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't attach to the game and you play it from a place of pure consciousness, then you enjoy it, no matter how you feel. I mean, it's like people when they watch the movie, it's the same thing. You watch the movie, you know that this movie is not real. But at some point, of course, you go so much into the movie that you experience all of it, but you know that you are not part of the movie. The problem with life is that we're so much attached to the movie of life or the game of life, so that we forget that we are not the game. And would you enjoy the movie if you believe that everything in the movie is true? No, you wouldn't, because you're gonna get scared. But if you know that you have this disattachment from it, and the least is that you are outside of the TV, but in life you're so into it, right? We are 3D here, and it's hard. But I think that realization changes everything for everyone. So, Emma, thank you for sharing all of this wisdom here. So much amazing things. And as I said at the beginning, just your being is so powerful that people would gonna just feel all this worth even deeper in them because of this being. Tell all of us, if there is one key for you to connect to and to follow bravely your dreams, what is that key?
Mm. For me, it's so simple. It's so simple because it's getting silent and sitting down and connecting, and it helps to make a physical connection. So really getting quiet, closing your eyes, slowing down your breath, asking the question, whatever that question is, and being ready to follow the answer. And that sometimes takes courage, right? You got to be prepared for whatever answer comes forward. Might not necessarily make sense. Can you trust yourself when your heart speaks? So yeah, very simply slowing down and asking.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you for everything you shared
Thank
again. And
you. Joy.
have a lovely afternoon.
And to you. And to
Thank
you.
you.
Lots of love.